UFC Vegas 99 going down this Saturday in Vegas at the Apex. We have another banger event, another banger main event. We have Anthony Hernandez versus Michelle Pereira in the main event, and then in the co-main event, we have Rob Font versus Kyler Phillips. A very top-heavy card, but throughout the card, we do have some good fights, and I can't wait to break it down with you guys. Give my picks and break down this card. But before we do get to UFC Vegas 99, I have to talk about UFC Vegas 98. And your boy had a historical night. I mean, your boy swept the picks. I went 12-0 on my picks that night. That is the second time ever I have done that. And then all my two parlays hit, and then my single bet hit. And let me get into these bets. So my fighters parlay hit, and so my fighters parlay was Pilastri, Sabatini, who was an underdog, Chidi Njokumani, and then Ji Young Park. 4-fighter parlay. The total odds were 1,047, and then I put $20 down for that. Your boy cashed out at 229. And then my other parlay is the over rounds parlay. So if you guys have been watching me, I kind of like to put together over rounds parlay because ever since these new MMA or these new UFC gloves came out, fighters are having trouble finishing fights. And I like to put together these over rounds if I can get a good number on these over rounds. So I like to put my parlays together with that. So this is my over rounds parlay for UFC Vegas 98. I had the Argueta versus Haddon fight over 2.5 rounds. I had the Price versus Gorimbo over 2.5 rounds. I had the Jared Gooden and Chidi Njokumani over 1.5 rounds. And then I had the main event, the Tyra versus Royval over 3.5 rounds. I had one unit, and the total odds were plus 700. So that one hit. And then my single bet for the night, I had Ramazabek Termavov just to win by TKO, KO, DQ, or submission. Basically, he just had to finish CJ Vergara. And those odds were 225. If you're giving me 225 for Temervov to win by basically just finishing this fight, I had to take it, man. I had to take a stab at it. I put one unit on this, and it cashed out. So, which is crazy, man. I couldn't believe the odds were that good for basically just a finish for Temervov over CJ Vergara. I know Vergara is known for being durable, but Temervov just had that power. And coming into that fight, seeing what I saw on the film, the power I just couldn't deny. So I had to jump on that bet, and I'm glad it pulled through for me. Yeah, guys, I had a great Saturday night with the picks being right and being making money. Can't complain. And I plan to kind of carry this momentum into this weekend's UFC Vegas 99 card. So on top of getting those 12 fights right, and then I had the co-main event and the main event for UFC 307, Pena and Alex Pereira winning in their fights. I'm basically on a 14-fight win streak right now. I'm on a heater. Your boy's feeling it, and I plan to keep this momentum going with UFC Vegas 99. Can we get into this damn card already? Please, thank you. Let's go, man. Yeah, man. Again, a very top-heavy card, but I think there are some really good fights on this card, and I can't wait to break it down with you guys. Let's start with the first fight on this card. We have Austin Lane versus Robelis de Spain. Listen, Austin Lane is he's an ex-football player. He's a very athletic fighter, but his MMA skill is just, it's a bit rough. It's a bit green still, I feel like. He's trying to put it all together, but I feel like he's just not clicking. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but it's not the first time we've seen a football player switch over to fighting and not having success. I don't know what it is, but Something's just not right. And on top of that, he has a glass chin. I feel like powerful fighters are fighting the chin of Austin Lane, and he's being knocked out all over the place. Now we go over to Robels to Spain. Um, the frame of this man, 6'7", with 84 reach. The wingspan is crazy, but he was coming into the UFC knocking out almost everybody. The knockouts were insane. I mean, he was finishing fights in like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, basically just knocking out everybody, making his way to the UFC. And then he ran into Waldo Acosta in his last fight and got that old fashioned ass whooping. Robel to Spain he got outclassed by someone who's not a top tier heavyweight, but still has enough technique to weather the storm and the power shots of Robel to Spain. And Waldo Costa kind of just put the hype train to rest that night for the Spain. But this is a good matchup for Robel to Spain to kind of come back into after suffering his first loss. Um, Again, Robel to Spain, he got outclassed on the feet, got taken down in his last fight. But I think it speaks volumes to me that he kind of lasted as long as he did against Waldo Costa. The cardio may not be that good, but he still survived for as long as he did. Um, but Austin Lane is just I can't trust that chin, especially with someone who has big power like Robel to Spain here. You just can't go. I'll be surprised if anyone goes with Austin Lane here. And if you think Austin Lane is going to use that wrestling to get Robel to Spain down, I think Robel to Spain he just has that power to kind of pop back up to his feet, especially early in this fight. Um, Especially Austin Lane, he's not that good if he's on top on the ground anyway. So give me the power, give me the power of Robel to Spain to find the chin of Austin Lane. Give me Robel to Spain by knockout. And this man is a minus 500 favorite. Yeah, I think the UFC is doing Robel to Spain justice by giving him Austin Lane in his comeback fight after suffering his first loss. So next fight we have Melissa Martinez versus Elise Ardeline. So Martinez is coming off a 2-year layoff. I was trying to scroll through her Instagram to see why she was off for 2 years. I couldn't find anything except she had a surgery for some type of injury. I don't know what that injury was, but I saw that she's training, getting back into training again and stuff like that. So I don't know if that was the cause for the layoff or whatever, but she's very light on her feet. She uses a lot of kicks, a lot of side stance kicks as well. Where she reminds me of of a karate hottie almost, Michelle Watterson. The way she kind of throws her kicks side in the side stance. But she likes to keep that range. Um, but she does have hands. I think she's just kind of tough a little bit. She is from Mexico and she has that Mexican spirit. It is a thing. Um, but she's quick, man. But with Elise Ardeline, so Ardeline is coming off her UFC debut in her last fight against Shauna Bannon. And in that fight, Elise took that fight on short notice. And I think it was like a 2 week short notice as well. And Elise kind of made it interesting, man. I think you could argue that Elise kind of won that fight. Maybe I'm being biased because I picked Shauna Bannon to win that fight. But I think Elise, and I was looking at Elise Ardeline's Instagram as well, and she looks like she's fit. She's like taking her diet very well, and her strength conditioning is very, very well, very good as well. She's really taken this kind of, I don't know, her UFC career seriously, I guess. I think Elise Ardeline is going to just use her. I think she's going to be the bigger fighter. I think she's going to be the more physical fighter in this fight. I'm going to take that, and with the layoff as well, I don't know what Melissa Martinez is going to look like on this 2-year layoff coming back. She may be too fast for Elise Ardeline on the feet, but I think Elise Ardeline is going to eat those punches or eat those strikes, kind of walk forward and just kind of have her way with Melissa Martinez as this fight goes on. And I could see, I was going to say a finish, but you know what? At least Ardeline is an underdog, and I'm going to take the underdog here. That's my first dog for this fight. Give me at least Ardeline to win by decision here. Next fight, we have Jessica Penne versus Elise Reed. Jessica Penne is 41 years old coming into this fight. Um, the record is not that pretty, but where Penne kind of will have success in this fight is on the ground. If she can get this fight to the ground and she can have her way with Elise Reed on the ground if it goes there. And that's kind of Elise Reed's kryptonite is the grappling on the ground, and she could get submitted. But I don't know if Elise Reed is going to, entertain that type of fight. Yeah, she can get held up against the cage, but I think she can have enough strength to kind of defend these takedowns or defend any trips or anything from Jessica Penne. I feel like people will lean the underdog here, but I have to go with the kickboxing and the moments that will be effective in this fight. And the probably the more important moments in this fight. I'm gonna go with Elise Reed having those big moments in this fight by landing some big strikes against Jessica Penne. Again, I think Penne is going to push forward, each shots coming in, and kind of pull guard as much as she can to kind of get this fight to the ground. But I think Elise Reed is good enough to avoid going to the ground with Jessica Penne. So give me Elise Reed to win by decision. Oh my gosh. And then we have the end of the fights. The third one, guys. We have Jocelyn Edwards versus Tamaris Vidal. I'm not too high on Vidal. Like she throws big. She has some big looping shots. Um, but I don't know if it's all there for me. Like she will try to make this fight a brawl. But I think Jocelyn Edwards is just she's not going to be there. She's not going to entertain this type of brawl fight that Vidal wants. Yeah, Vidal can make this interesting if she wants to go forward, pressure Jocelyn Edwards into fighting her. Because we've seen Jocelyn Edwards kind of not have that cardio for 15 minutes, or she's dying out in the third. But again, I think she can lean on her takedowns, and um, she has good movement on the feet. I think she's gonna outstrike Vidal, but if you know Jocelyn Edwards is tired from Vidal moving forward, look for Jocelyn Edwards to kind of get this fight to the ground, and I think she can win it there as well. Again, Vidal just doesn't do it for me. Like her skill set just doesn't do it for me. Give me Jocelyn Edwards to win this fight by decision here. I could see a late third round finish here for Edwards, depending on just how Edwards goes about fighting this fight. Um, but I don't know. I feel more comfortable with a Edwards by decision here. And that is the third fight in a row with women in it. So I don't think there's any more. Thank goodness. All respect though. Next fight we have Bracatona versus Gene Matsumoto. So Bracatona, good volume boxing. Um, he's a very consistent fighter though. He doesn't do anything crazy, but he's just very consistent. Keeps the even flow. His pace is always going to be there. Um, he can mix up the wrestling as well, mix in the wrestling as well if he wants to. Um, he's been on the Ultimate Fighter twice. That should say enough, right? But I think the Canadian Brackatona is good. I think he's okay. Like he could have a UFC career of just fighting the lower level of the 135ers. Um, but yeah, the boxing is okay. The pace is okay. But on the other side of Brackatona, we have Gene Matsumoto. This guy is part of the total package. A black belt in BJJ and Muay Thai. The stand up is he's strong. He's fast. He's 25 years old. This man's skill set is dangerous. And I love it that he's 15 and 0. He's 25 years old in a very, very deep 135 class. And I think his skill set is going to be too much for Brackatona here. Um, Now, Brackatona could get the takedowns, yes, but with the BJJ black belt in Matsumoto, what does that ground game look like? What does the scrambles look like on the ground with between these guys? I don't know, man. I think Gene Matsumoto finds his way to being ranked fighter one day in the 135 division. I like the young, the youth. I'm not saying Brackatona is old or anything, but give me Gene Matsumoto to win by decision here. And the only reason why I'm going to decision is because Brackatona, he's very, very durable. I don't think he's been finished that much in his career. Um, Gene could land that shot that knocks him out, but I don't know. I feel more comfortable going into decision. Matsumoto having the 30-27 type of performance, just kind of being faster, quicker to the punch here. Um, yeah, man. Give me the 25-year-old Gene Matsumoto to win this fight. Next up, we have Mateus Nicolau versus Asu Amabayev. This is a very interesting fight at flyweight. So with Nicolau, he's coming off of back-to-back losses by knockout. I feel like Nicolau has fought in the big names in the flyweight division, and Asu Amabayev is kind of working his way up into getting that ranked spot here. I don't know if Asu Amabayev is ranked yet. I don't know, but this is going to be Almabayev's biggest fight here. Almabayev he submitted O'Day Osborne. I feel like if I can remember that right, but Almabayev he has dictated most of his fights. He's winning most of his fights by wrestling his opponents and holding them on the ground basically. Um, Even when his opponents get up back to their feet, he's still having his way with the wrestling, and no one has ever had the recipe to defend these takedowns yet from Almabayev. He doesn't have the power in his hands, but the striking is not bad. He just doesn't have that. He just doesn't have that knockout power yet. I don't know if it will ever come, but I say all that to give my pick for Mateus Nicolau. I'm picking Nicolau, the underdog here, because of the experience. Yeah, he's 31 years old, but I feel like the chin may be gone. But I think he could still eat the strikes from Asu Amabayev. And then with the takedowns and how to defend the wrestling of Amabayev, Nicolau has a higher percentage of takedown defense. I hope that it shows, and I hope that percentage kind of holds up this weekend. But Mateus Nicolau has like a 94 or like 90 something percent takedown defense, um, which I hope it's there and I hope it shows this Saturday. But if he can defend some of these takedowns, Mateus Nicolau is going to be the faster, stronger fighter on the feet, and I think he can just outstrike Almabayev. And if Almabayev is still shooting for takedowns, trying to get these takedowns, work for these takedowns, what is that cardio going to look like in the third round, second round, late in the second round? I think he will be gassed, and I think he will be tired. I'm gonna take a shot out here on the dog. I'm gonna take a shot here on Mateus Nicolau to just to win. Win, defend takedowns and just have moments to win him rounds on the feet and kind of have also Mabayev kind of shooting for his life almost um, towards the end, trying to you know make it close. But I'm taking the dog plus 160 for Mateus Nicolau. Give me the dog here, man. This is going to be a big prove it spot for me for Asu Mabayev. I'm not that big of a fan for Almabayev. I have to see it, man. So this might be the performance where he shows me and shuts me up, but I'm going to take the experience here. I'm going to take someone who's been here, done that, and someone who has the high percentage and takedown defense, and someone who's just stronger, faster on the feet with striking. I'm going to give me the underdog here. Let's move into the main card. We have Darren Elkins versus Daniel Pineda. This is one of my favorite fights on this card because a Darren Elkins fight is always exciting. This man is a beast. This man is chaos. Let's just say that. So Darren Elkins is 40 years old and Daniel Pineda is 39 years old. Now, something that may sway me to the Darren Elkins side here is when Daniel Pineda is tired and he kind of gasses out fast. Daniel Pineda only lasts for like 3-4 minutes in the first round. After those 3-4 minutes, Daniel Pineda is basically fighting for his life. I mean, this man he's gassed, but he's still able to throw big shots. He's still able to land big shots. Again, the heart comes through in Daniel Pineda when he is tired. He's still able to shoot for takedowns, get takedowns, hit you with big shots. So Darren Elkins does have to be careful with that. But man, something when Daniel Pineda is tired, the choices and the IQ of Daniel Pineda is so bad. This man's throwing spinning back fist, some spinning stuff. If that is the case here, I think Darren Elkins can time that, get the back, and either win control time or look for submission attempts. And that's what kind of throws me into leaning the Darren Elkins way in this fight. Yeah, he gets hit, he gets bloody, he gets punched once and he's already covered in blood. The scar tissue is just it's almost like Nate Diaz, the Diaz brothers scar tissue with Darren Elkins. Like one punch and they're just bleeding. Um, but Darren Elkins, like he does have a good right hand. Um, but he's so good at timing takedowns, finding the hips, getting the takedowns. Even though I think Daniel Pineda can get muscle his way back up to his feet and scramble, I think in those scrambles, something could happen to where Darren Elkins locks up a chin or finds a neck maybe to lock up a submission here. It's a tough fight, man. I know these guys are both older, and but Darren Elkins again with Darren Elkins, he fought T.J. Brown, who's someone who was younger than him. Had the power, had the speed advantage, had all of that in their favor. Darren Elkins still gave T.J. Brown hell, and he ended up submitting him in the third round. I feel like maybe it was the third round, but he was close to finishing that fight in the first round. Darren Elkins was. So again, I lean that way because Darren Elkins, I feel like he's just a better fighter when he's exhausted. Because I know these guys are going to go all out, and the heart is going to be on display from both of these guys. But with Daniel Pineda throwing spinning shots and just having low IQ moments in this fight, I think Darren Elkins could capitalize on it. Tough fight, man. It's a really tough fight to predict. Um, I might go Darren Elkins here, and then maybe when I put out my final picks and bets on Friday episode, this one could change. Maybe I should hear just more people breaking down this fight to kind of give me some more insight. But this one's up in the air. Before this video and for this video for my picks right now, I'm gonna take Darren Elkins. And he's even money right now. Yeah, it's probably gonna become an even odds wise. So Next fight, we have Brady Heastan versus Jake Hadley. So Jake Hadley was fighting at flyweight, and then I feel like his last fight against Kyle Lawfren, mini Brock Lesnar. Um, that was like his first fight into the bantamweight division. He's always been a flyweight, but I guess he's moving up a weight class. But he looked good, man. He was kind of like a good sized underdog in that fight in his last fight, and he kind of showed out. He's not killing his body to he's not killing his body to 125 anymore. So maybe the performance is coming up now for Jake Hadley. And the skills there, like good boxer. He kind of has like a I don't know, like a street style almost. He kind of reminds me of not a Diaz brother, but I don't know. He just kind of has like a street brawl style. But the boxing and the striking is good from Jake Hadley. But he does get taken down a lot, and he does have trouble with wrestlers. I think he has trouble getting back to his feet, and I think he's willing to just stay there on his back and kind of work from, kind of throw strikes off his back, throw up submissions. But I don't know. I've seen him on his back a way too much, and him just kind of being comfortable or accepting that he's going to be here for a while. So he's going to do a whole bunch of crazy shit to hopefully scramble back to his feet. I don't know, but it doesn't sit well with me that he is in this position a lot. Well, with Brady Heastan here, I think he just could be the more physical fighter here and getting this fight to the ground. Um, but Brady Heastan is someone else who has heart. He's been rocked before, but he's fought his way back into fights. Um, but again, I think when you look at them frame to frame and like compare the bodies, Brady Heastan has become like a very very yoked fighter. I mean, this guy's muscles are the body's huge. And I think Brady Heastan could use his body and just his physicality to muscle Jake Hadley around and get this fight to the ground. I'm gonna take Brady Heastan. And then this might be another pick to where I pick flip on Friday. Stay tuned for Friday and for the final picks and bets. But for right now, I'm gonna take Brady Heastan in this fight. I've seen Jake Hadley struggle with too many wrestlers for me to go with him against a wrestler like Brady Heastan. This could be a good fight, though. I like the style matchup here. Next up, we have Energy Charles Johnson versus Sumaderchi. Sumaderchi, great striking. Um, I feel like that's all he has. The way to beat Sumaderchi is to get him to the ground and kind of use the jujitsu against him. But with Charles Johnson, talk about activity. This guy's been fighting a lot since he's been in the UFC. We talk about like Alex Pereira, um, that type of activity, Kevin Holland activity. Charles Johnson is up there with that, being the more active fighter in the UFC. I enjoy this guy. I enjoy watching Charles Johnson fight. This guy's exciting, and he uses his striking a lot. But I feel like we could see more of his wrestling and his ground game in this fight. Again, Sumer has good striking. He has power in his shots as well. I think this could be a very entertaining fight on the feet. But I think Charles Johnson might get touched up a bit here, and then using his wrestling to get this fight to the ground and kind of wear on Sumer to kind of tire him out. I think Charles Johnson could have his way in this fight, and I think this is just the easy pick. I think Charles Johnson is kind of after knocking out Joshua Van in the third round in his last fight. Charles Johnson is kind of getting into this aura. He's building his aura around him. I think this man is becoming a very, very dangerous flyweight. I hope that Charles Johnson beats Samadarchi on Saturday and we see him back very, very soon against a ranked opponent. And it's time to make that run to the title, man. At 33 years old, right now is the time for Charles Johnson to kind of make that run. It's gonna be tough, man. There's some tough fighters up there in this flyweight division, but I'm so ready to see Charles Johnson against the top fighters in this division. Next up, we have the co-main event, and before I get into the co-main event, hopefully I do enough to earn your sub with this breakdown. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that sub button, like the video, drop a comment for the algorithm, show some love. And then if you're listening to this on audio on the on the what's it called, Spotify, there you go. Follow the podcast. But thank you for your support. Thank you guys again for just tuning in. Let's get into the co-main event. We have Rob Font versus Carter Phillips. It's a good. This is a really good co-main event. I love both of these guys. I've been a New England Cartel fan for, you know, 2016, 2017. It started with Calvin, and then Calvin, training with Rob. I discovered Raw Font, and I've been riding with the New England Cartel for a while now, and I'm always gonna watch their fights. I've been a big fan of those guys, but man, it's so frustrating. Like the boxing is there, the stand up is there, but where is the wrestling coach? Like where is this wrestling that you guys need? Where is the takedown defense? Where is all this? Because it's so frustrating to see these guys have great stand up, great boxing, but just when they get taken down, that's basically the fight, And this kind of same thing with Rob Font. Like Rob Font has never had the power. I feel like he has knocked out Yanez, but I feel like Rob Font is going to jab, jab, jab. Jab. Just jab your head off and jab his way into distance and kind of just land his bigger shots. But he doesn't have that killer power. He doesn't have that one shot power. I feel like, but the boxing he's very technical on the feet, good, great hands, great boxing. But as of late, people have been wrestling Rob Font. Corey Sandhagen was even wrestling Rob Font. Figueroa was wrestling Rob Font, and I could see Kyler Phillips taking that same route here. Again, I've been a big fan since I seen Kyler Phillips in the Contender Series. Um, I'm glad he's kind of getting his big name fight in the bantamweight division and kind of getting his name more recognition in the 135 division. I think he has a very, very exciting style. Kyler Phillips does, and it's time, man. It's time for Kyler Phillips to kind of get that notice around the division, and for people to start taking him serious about be probably fighting for a contender spot or fighting his way into the top 7 of this division. But Kyler Phillips, he can do everything: striking, take this fight to the ground, jujitsu. Like I think he's a very skilled, well-rounded fighter. I do worry about the cardio at times because the output is so crazy. I think he just outpaces himself sometimes, and I think he can get tired. But I think this is just a good style matchup here to where even if he does get tired, I don't see Rob Font just taking advantage like that. So give me Kyler Phillips to win by unanimous decision here. Um, Rob Font, again, he's been in many wars. He's gotten his ass kicked a lot, but he's still durable. And Kyler Phillips is going to be the more faster striker here. He may just find that shot. Maybe this is the fight where Rob Font finally gets knocked out. But until I see it, give me the decision. So give me Kyler Phillips to win by decision here. Decision. Sorry, I'm like mumbling there. Now in the main event, we have Anthony Fluffy Hernandez versus Michelle Pereira. What a great main event. Another great main event. And I think this is a very, very meaningful middleweight fight for one of these guys to kind of get pushed up into the rankings a little bit and kind of get that big fight next up. So, Michelle Pereira here, he spent most of his career at welterweight division, but he was cutting a lot of weight, and I think that weight cut was damaging his body, and it was, his performances were taking a hit because he would have a strong first round, and then the second, third, he was gassed. So he finally moved up a weight class into middleweight, and now he looks like a new he looks like a new person at 31 years old, hitting his physical prime in his career. This man has looked unstoppable. This man has looked like a beast at middleweight. Finishing fights left and right by knockout, sub. I mean, Pereira is just looking like a new man at middleweight division. Now on the other side, we have Anthony Hernandez. Again, another contenders series fighter here, but Anthony Hernandez, he has this relentless wrestling grappling style to him. I kind of caught on to Anthony Hernandez kind of late. I didn't really start like noticing watching him until like 3 fights ago, maybe. And then I remember I picked Edmund in that fight against Hernandez, and Edmund looked good in that first round, and then Anthony Hernandez just wouldn't go away, and he was just in his face, stalking Edmund, and just Edmund got tired, and we saw Anthony Hernandez just put together the wrestling and the grappling that was just hard for Edmund to keep up with, and we kind of saw it with the Kopylov uh, fight with Hernandez. Hernandez uses the grappling and the wrestling, and then just has his way, just grinding away at his opponents. I think the 5 round fight. I think the 5 round fight is in favor of Anthony Hernandez here. Just the way he fights, he's going to be there. He does strike, yes, but the way he wrestles and kind of grinds out these his opponents, like I think it is in favor of Anthony Hernandez here. And I think with Pereira, again, he's finishing these fights really quick. I don't know how he's going to look in the third, fourth round of these fights at middleweight. So this could be a live bet situation here, but I really wanted to take the underdog here with Pereira, but I'm going to take just a style that I know that is going to go 25 minutes, and just something that I've seen for myself, and I like just the grappling, the wrestling from Hernandez can really break down his opponents. Give me Anthony Fluffy Hernandez to win this fight by submission in the fourth or fifth round. I just think it's going to present itself with the wrestling and the relentlessness of Anthony Hernandez. I think it's just going to open stuff up later in this fight, and maybe Pereira is tired in that fourth and fifth round, and I think a submission is going to be there for the taken. So, and I think Anthony Hernandez takes that takes advantage of that, and he wins by submission here. Okay? So, all right. So I'm gonna read through my final picks for UFC Vegas 99. I will start from the bottom of the card and then kind of work my way up here. Um, Shit, man. Let me get my shit together. Again, man. I think really again top heavy card, but the main card is really good. The prelims and how the UFC is kind of forcing us to watch 3 women's fights in a row. Very disrespectful. Anyways, let's go. So my picks for UFC Vegas 99. We have Robels to Spain. We have Elise Ardeline, underdog number 1. We have Elise Reed. We have Jocelyn Edwards. Give me Jean Matsumoto. Give me Mateus Nicolau, underdog number 2. Give me Darren Elkins, underdog number 3. Give me Brady Heastan. Give me Charles Johnson. Give me Kyler Phillips. And then give me Anthony Hernandez. 3 underdogs on this card. And I feel confident, but stay tuned to Friday's episode of my final picks and my bets. I will give out my bets there. Again, we are on a heater. 14 fights in a row that I've gotten. UFC 307. I had the co-main and the main right, and then I just swept the card last week. Your boy's on a heater, and I hope to gain your following here. Hopefully, I've done enough to earn your sub with this breakdown. I post all my picks on my social medias. You can find my Twitter and my Instagram in the description below. And thank you guys for just checking this episode out. And see you guys on the next one. Bobby out here going crazy. Liquor drown me, I can make the name. Potato barrel making mashed potatoes. They can't play me, boy.